Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I'm starting off with my Promise Organic facial lotion that I got in my Ipsy Glam bag. Then I am concealing with my Makeup Revolution Cream Contour Palette, and I use the yellow shade to cover up any of my dark circles and blemishes that I had. Then I moisturize my lips with some Blistex. And then I went in with my favorite drugstore foundation, the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless, and I used the shades 310 Sun Beige and 220 Natural Beige. And I know they look a little dark, but I wanted my fortune teller to be like a little more on the tan side, and I put the dark shade on the perimeter of my face and then the light shade on the center just to give some dimension. And I brought them both down onto my neck so that there were no like harsh lines anywhere. And I blended that all in with my Real Techniques buffing brush, and I made sure to blend really well around my hairline and my ears. And then I concealed with the Maybelline Master Concealer. This part is pretty optional because I do bring eyeshadow pretty far down on the under eye area, but I wanted to brighten up the face a little bit, so I concealed my under eyes, my chin, my nose, and my forehead, and I also brought some concealer onto my eyelids to act as an eyeshadow base. And then I blend that all in with my Real Techniques sponge. And then I took my Airspun loose powder and my Real Techniques brush and set my concealer. And then to brighten up the under eye a little bit, I took my MAC Studio Fix powder in NC15 and the little sponge it comes with and just packed that on underneath my eyes. And now that the face is done, we are moving on to the eyebrows. I used the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in Chocolate and the Anastasia Beverly Hills Angle Brush in number 12. And I didn't want the eyebrows to look super defined, so I mimicked brow hairs by flicking the brush upwards. And on the tail of the brow right there, I just flicked the brush towards my temple just to make them appear a little bit thicker. So as you can see, the eyebrow still has a nice shape to it. I didn't want it to be too bushy looking because I still wanted the fortune teller to look glamorous, so I just kept doing that until I got it at the thickness that I wanted. And I did the other eyebrow off camera. And moving on to the eyes, I used this little black Marc Jacobs eyeliner and messily put it onto the top lash line. It doesn't have to look perfect because we are going to blend it out in a second. Then I'm taking the double-sided brush that comes in the Urban Decay Electric palette, and I use the small flat side and blended out that eyeliner. And I blended out the corner to create a wing to act as a guide for the eyeshadow. Then I took the red color from the Morphe 35B palette and a Morphe M433 brush and placed that on the outer third of the eye and the inner third of the eye right underneath of the eyebrow. And I just keep picking up a little bit more red at a time and adding it on and then blending it out. And that's also where the eyeliner comes in handy because it shows where your stopping point is for the eyeshadow. And you could also use tape for this, but I just wanted to use eyeliner. Then I went in with a fluffier blending brush and that light pink shade from the Morphe 35B palette and blended out the top of the red eyeshadow so that there were no more harsh lines. Then I took that magenta shade on a MAC 217 brush and placed it more in the crease and closer to the eyeliner. And just like the red color, I just kept picking up some of the magenta shade little by little and adding it on and blending it out. And then taking the electric palette brush again and the same side as before, I'm taking the black from the Morphe 35B palette and redefining the eyeliner and also dragging it up into the crease a little bit. And then I went in with that dark purple from the 35B palette and a MAC 217 brush and added that right on top of the black that I just put there in the crease, well, outer corner crease. And I put it there to help blend out the black, and then I switched back and forth from the MAC 217 brush and then the Urban Decay brush to just blend everything out. Then, as you can see, I added a little bit too much black eyeshadow, but went back in with my MAC 217 and blended it out with some of the red eyeshadow from the Morphe 35B palette. And then I took that red shadow everywhere else because it kind of got lost underneath the other eyeshadows. Next, I went in with that gold metallic shade from the Morphe 350 palette and just popped that right on the lids with my finger. And then I went in with the Morphe M433 brush just to blend out the top a little bit. And I also added some of that gold into the inner corner. Then I took that Marc Jacobs eyeliner to the lower lash line, and I took some black eyeshadow from the Morphe 35B palette and the electric palette brush again and blended out that black eyeliner. And then going in with the electric palette by Urban Decay, we are going to be taking my favorite color in the palette, which is Jilted, and on the bigger side of the brush that comes in the palette, and smudging that right along the lower lash line underneath the black. And instead of blending the eyeshadow backwards towards the temple, I blended it down. And then I took my Morphe E18 brush and the red from the Morphe 35B palette and further blended out Jilted. Then I took Urban from the electric palette and blended that right in between the black eyeshadow and Jilted. Then I went back in with that light pink shade and a blending brush and buffed out the edges. And then I went back in with MAC 217 and whatever product was left on it and blended those edges down. Then I took Jilted on my contour brush from Real Techniques and contoured my cheekbones and my forehead. Then I did the same thing with Urban and I just deepened the contours. Then I took Jilted on my Morphe E18 brush and I contoured my Cupid's bow. And I also contoured underneath my nose a little bit and under my bottom lip. Then I took whatever shadow was left over on my contour brush and blended that on the sides of my nose. Now it's time for lashes. These are by LashXo in the style Femme Belle. I don't know if that's how you say it, but I'll link them down below for you guys. But as soon as I was putting on my lashes, I realized I forgot mascara. And so I popped on some mascara and then I popped on those lashes. And so these lashes were kind of difficult for me to apply because the band is so stiff and it's kind of thick too. So the key thing for you guys to remember when you're applying lashes is while the glue is drying, just to keep pinching them against your real lash line and pushing them down against your real lashes so that they are as close to your real lash line as possible. So you wouldn't be able to see where your fake lashes end and where your real lashes start. Then I went in with some Maybelline Great Lash Mascara just to hide my real lashes and blend them with the fake ones. Next, I am highlighting with Champagne Pop by Becca and Jaclyn Hill and my Morphe M441 brush and really packing it on because it's Halloween and no one's going to tell you that you have too much highlight on. Then I went in with that same Marc Jacobs eyeliner again and lined my lips and only filled in the corners because we are going to be putting a lipstick in the center. I also used that Urban Decay brush again to clean up the edges a little bit. Then took Media by MAC, gave it a nice whiff because I love the smell of MAC lipsticks, and then I put it right on the center of my lips. Then took this gorgeous gold NYX lip gloss and put that on the center of the top and bottom lip. And moving on to my third eye, I used a white eyeliner to map out everything and then used the same white eyeliner to fill in the white areas of the eye. Then I went in with the electric palette brush again and the flat side with whatever black product was left on it and outlined the entire eye and outlined the iris. And I also shaded the corners to make it look a little more 3D, and still not putting any more product on the brush, I made a line over the eye for the lid. And here I'm just showing you the colors that I'm using for the iris, but I really only used the first one and the fourth one. And I went in with the fourth one first and filled in the entire iris. And then I realized that the iris wasn't big enough, so I went in with that Urban Decay brush again and made it a little bigger. Then I took the Marc Jacobs eyeliner and just popped that on the center of the iris for the pupil. Then I went in with the Morphe E36 brush and a little bit of black eyeshadow to shade the outline of the eye and also the outline of the iris. Then I used that same brush and the darkest green eyeshadow from the Morphe 35B palette and just blended that along the iris. Then I used a flatter, fluffier brush and the yellow from the 35B palette and just packed that on the center of the iris. And the yellow kind of covered up the pupil, so I'm just redefining the pupil with the Marc Jacobs eyeliner. And then with that Urban Decay brush, I am taking a little bit of black eyeshadow and redefining the lower waterline and the eyelid. And I went in with MAC 217 and the red shadow from the Morphe 35B palette and added the color to the lid and the crease area, keeping the majority of the color on the outer corners. I went in with Jilted on the Urban Decay brush, and I packed that more on the lid and outer corners, and then I brought it down and blended it onto the lower lash line. And then I blended that out with the Morphe E36. Then I took my e.l.f. liquid liner and I lined the entire eye. And I also lined right above the lower line to create the bottom waterline. Then without taking any more product onto the brush, I started making the eyelashes in a bunch of different shapes, sizes, and directions. And then this happened.
No!
But when things like that happen, you just have to laugh at yourself a little and move on. I just made the other lashes surrounding that one really long and dark so that that one would be less noticeable. And here I'm just adding a little bit more of that dark green to darken up the iris a little bit. Then I am taking Urban and Jilted on my contour brush and just contouring my décolleté. And I also took that indigo shade and deepened up the contours a little bit. And then for my turban, I literally used a V-neck t-shirt that I had, and I put the V of the V-neck right above the eye, and I just clipped that back with a clip. And then I got my little headpiece from Francesca's on clearance for like $2, and that necklace I've had since I literally can remember. I'm not really sure where it came from. And then I continued to highlight because why not? And I added a little bit of white paint on the iris to make it look like it's shining.
No!